તો સીધા જશું લોકસભા ફરી એકવાર રાફેલનો મુદ્દો ચર્ચાયો છે.
Nor can we change the neighborhood. And if that's the case, is it not our duty as government, for anybody who's in government, to recognize the sense of urgency with which we have to deal? I would want to give you the picture of how we stand precarious sometimes in decision making, and it is requirement for the leadership to take that call. How was our neighborhood developing in the last 10 years? China added 400 aircrafts between 2004 and 2015. Fourth generation aircrafts, fighter aircrafts like J-10, J-11, J-16, Su-27, Su-30 were all being added to the Chinese arsenal. Even fifth generation stealth fighters were being added. If that's about China, what about Pakistan? They increased their total number of aircrafts. By more than double, they had F-16 bought in. And also, they added 43 JF-17 class Chinese aircrafts to the arsenal. Now, if this is China and Pakistan, what were we doing in India? In 2002, we had 42 squadrons. In 2007, this came down to 36 squadrons. Further, by the time it was 2015, it was reduced to 33 squadrons. Our neighbors are increasing their capacity, and we, who should have supplied the Air Force with enough power, the motion having commenced in 2001 under Atal Bihari Vajpayee, kept moving at snail's pace, and we did not have, even by 2014, did not have what was moved by Atal Bihari Vajpayee. A deadlock situation was created, and we were left with no additional aircrafts, and we are constantly being reminded there was a deal. We gave this much money. Where was the 126 aircraft? Where were they? Have they got it? What price did they pay? What is this 526 crore that they're constantly talking about? I'll come to that. 2001, NDA gave in principle agreement or approval for the procurement of 126 MMRCA. And the user requirements were also issued, which is called the Services Qualitative Requirement, SQRs, about which Manya Shri Rahul Gandhi ji referred in 2006. These SQRs were issued in 2006. The deal only reached a deadlock in 2014. From 6, when the SQRs were issued, and in 14, you leave the government without anything bought. The sense of urgency, the neighborhood. I'm being reminded that we don't need to talk about the neighborhood. All of us know about it. Oh, all of us knew about it. Did you do something about it? Did you do something about it? Did you get the aircrafts? 2006, the SQRs were released. And in 14, even further, I'll go even further, ma'am, please. The reasons for the deadlock, even then, were not clear. What was the deal? They were negotiating for 18 aircrafts to be bought in a flyaway condition, and the rest were not to be produced with, let us say, the HAL. The sense of urgency made you think that you should get 18 in flyaway condition. National security is important. I would have presumed that's the reason they went for 18 flyaway, and the rest 108 to be produced in India over an 11-year period in their agreement. I want to know if the national security and the sense of urgency, which again, Sri Rahul Gandhi reminded us, when the SQRs were issued, there was a sense of urgency which was also mentioned. Till today, you have not bought aircraft was a very emotionally charged member asking. Very legitimate question, I agree. But 18 flyaway you couldn't obtain by the time it was 2014. After 2006, you went away without even getting the 18 flyaway. I want to know why. Why? There wasn't an agreement, there wasn't a deal, you didn't buy any, and today you get up to say, what is the sense of urgency that you have appreciated to get the aircrafts? Please. All right? Then, I'm coming point by point, ma'am. Let them have the patience to hear it. Then, the question I want to ask here, yes, I'm answering that. Madam,
don't listen to them.
There is a minimum period, ma'am. Madam Speaker.
आज क्या हो गया? नहीं कुछ नहीं, बैठिए. आज क्या हो गया? ये क्या हो रहा है? बैठो ना, आपसे नहीं ऐसे.
Madam Speaker, there is a minimum period required for the production of any such complex platforms.
Just now she has started.
The assumption that these fighters.
अभी तो शुरू किया है, प्लीज बैठिए. क्या हो रहा है? No, this is not proper. Nothing will go on record, only minister's statement. Yes,
Madam,
you go ahead.
Madam, there is a minimum period required for the production of any complex platforms. The assumption that these fighters, I'm responding.
I can't help it. Yes.
The assumption that these fighters are available off the shelf is really mistaken. None of this is available off the shelf. The IGA was signed
आपको भी बताना चाहूंगी.
23rd
मैं आपको भी
September
बताना चाहूंगी,
2016.
बहुत देर तक सबका डिस्कशन हुआ है. हर एक आप थोड़ा सा रखना नहीं. यू विल हैव टू लिसन डिफेंस मिनिस्टर. आप पूरा करने दीजिए, पूरा देखिए तो सही. ये तरीके नहीं होते हैं बीच बीच में टोकने के. शी इज टेलिंग एवरीथिंग. नो, यू विल हैव टू. हर समय कोई ना कोई मिसलीड करता रहता है. प्लीज नो, ये तरीका नहीं है. जब मैं कुछ बोल रही हूँ तो मुझसे चर्चा करने का. Nothing will go on record like this. Please.
The IGA, the intergovernmental agreement, was signed on 23rd September 2016, and the first aircraft will be delivered in 3 years from that date, and the last aircraft will come in 2022. The first aircraft will be delivered in 3 years. In 3 years from 2016. That is in 2019. This year, September, you will have the first aircraft, and the 36th aircraft will be here in 2022. Even in the MMRCA, even in the 126 MMRCA proposal, the first aircraft was to be delivered in 3 years from the date of signature of contract. Even in the MMRCA, that was a condition. In the IGA, considering the necessity of an early procurement, the process of negotiation were completed in 14 months' time. The process of negotiation did not run for 10 years, madam. The process of negotiation did not run for 10 years. We finished it in 14 months. Yes. And the delivery of the 36th aircraft will be here within. The 36th aircraft has been advanced by 5 months. It has been advanced by 5 months as compared to the MMRCA proposal. Now, I also want to say, ma'am, if this is the way in which, if this is the way facts are frightening them, let me tell you there are more facts which can frighten them even more. They have to have the patience to hear us now. Then, I would want to ask one question, madam, here, which I'm sure is going to make them shout even more, but I would like to request them to hear the facts. The then RM said to the media, where is the money? The then RM said in the media on 6th of February 2014, the then RM said, we can't buy, where is the money? He said it outside of Parliament. I want to ask, madam, one minute. I want to ask, madam, the RM then said outside of this Parliament premises, where is the money? I want to ask, what money? Which money? Which money, madam? I want to ask which money? Deal money. Probably the deal money. I want to ask, madam, because the Raksha Mantri or the Mantralaya prepares a detailed schedule, even as the contract negotiating committees go about negotiating finer details as to how the payment should be made once the agreement is signed. Assume agreement is signed today, and I use the word T0 for that. Agar this agreement is signed today, we use the expression time zero. We start from now. The planning in the ministry, is done in such a way that when T0, that is when you sign the agreement, you have not signed it already. But when you sign the agreement at T0, you have to pay 15% advance. Then T0 say plus 6 months. T0 plus 6 months, you have to pay another something. T0 plus 8 months, you have to do. So, the point that I want to tell here is the timeline for the payment, the quantum of payment, the percentage of the total cost of the payment for the aircraft, separately for the weapon system, are all well prepared and kept in the ministry. You cannot come at that time when you say, Madam, interestingly, we are also repeatedly told and reminded, you know, the company's CEO said 95% the deal was all through, only 5%. We couldn't complete that 5%. On all that is reminded to us saying we were almost at the verge of completing the agreement, which means they knew also the payment schedules. They also have made a provision in the ministry for it. And in February 2014, how did the Raksha Mantri come out to say, where is the money? Which money is he talking about? Which money is he talking about? So, they did not intend buying the aircraft till something else was done. Madam, let me tell you here one thing. There is a difference between